All right, today I would like to address hypnobirthing and 5 types of reality from a hypnotherapist's point of view. There is a world famous hypnotherapist named Igor Ledachovsky who does a lecture on the 5 types of reality. Today I want to break it down to how they affect birth. So the first type of reality is physical. Physical reality is the law of physics, the physical world, things you can touch, see, smell, taste, things that are ruled by the laws of physics, like if you walk into a pole, you'll get a hurt head. If a car hits a wall, the car will break, the wall will break, this sort of thing. So a physical reality, physical rules, we all know what that is. The next one is emotional reality. Emotional states drive our behavior lots of times, not all the time, but a lot of times. Sometimes we find ourselves doing things we don't necessarily want to do, but they just sort of happen, like in an argument, snapping at somebody, or, being on a diet and knowing you shouldn't have that cake, but you find yourself eating it, emotional eating. So emotional reality often drives and can change our physical reality. Intellectual reality. These are things that come from ideas that people make into actual tangible things. Ideas like love. You love someone, so you live together, you get married, you have children. Love is an intellectual idea. Excitement, becoming part of a fan club or a group, learning about something new. These are all intellectual things. Even the idea of a nation, the fact that you have to go through customs when you go into a new country is because somebody has decided that this piece of land is ours and that piece of land is yours, and you're not allowed to come into ours unless you have a specific piece of paper. So you've got an intellectual idea of a nation that becomes the driving force for a physical reality, which is having to walk through the ropes at customs when you get off the plane. The next one is symbolic. Symbolic reality is everywhere. You've got symbols, obviously, in religion. You've got even the letters you're looking at right now. On this screen, they are actually only shapes. If you think about it, they're just shapes, they're symbols, but they give you an idea. They become intellectual because they mean something to you. So, if you work with the Cyrillic alphabet, if you work, in English, you know what that means. But if you're suddenly trying to read Russian, these are symbols, or Chinese, and you don't know it. These are just pictures to you. Yet to a person who speaks Chinese, it means something. So symbols are all around you. If you open a book, you're looking at symbols. And yet it becomes intellectual reality, emotional reality. And in some cases, you take those symbols and make them a physical reality. When you read something and you decide to make something or do something because of it, you have then taken a symbol into a physical world. So they affect each other, these types of reality. The last one is called attention. Attention, instead of being affected by these ones as much, it affects them. So any of these words, any of these types of reality will be nothing to you unless you are applying attention to them. For example, if you do not read a book, you will never know what's in it. Quite simply put. So if you don't put attention on the symbols, meaning the words in the book, it will not affect your intellect, your emotions, or your physical world. If you don't put your attention on anything that happens in the world, for example, if there's an earthquake on the other side of the world and you don't feel it, well, something did occur in the physical world, but you never had your attention on it, it will not affect you, it won't affect your reality. So quite simply put, if your attention is not on something, it's not part of your world. It's not part of your reality. So let's think about how this interplays with each other. As I was talking about before, we have physical reality can affect your emotions. So, and these can all affect each other. For example, in physical reality, if someone is sad and someone gives you a hug, it can help you feel better, right? So you are sad and your emotions are helped by a physical comfort, a physical touch. This is something in hypnobirthing that we talk about. It's very important for dads to be willing to do whatever physical touch mum needs, whether it's just holding her, stroking her hair, any of these sort of things. They can affect the emotional reality. Intellectual reality is affected by emotional and vice versa. These are very closely interplay. And the symbolic reality, as we talked about before, can in turn affect these. And attention, it feeds in back and forth through all of these ones. It stands alone on its own as the core of your reality, and yet it interplays with these. Okay, that sounds maybe a bit complex, but it makes sense if you think about the fact that if you don't pay attention to something, it will mean nothing to you. We've got that interplay between all these realities. So let's take a look at how this works with birth. With hypnobirthing, this is one thing I love about being a hypnobirthing teacher. In hypnobirthing, you learn how to affect these realities to have a positive birth experience. So you take your attention, and your attention, instead of focusing on any horror stories or negative birth stories that people love to tout, instead of focusing on those things, we take it and make it into a positive direction and gear that toward your goal of achieving positive birth. And it makes such a difference. You have the teaching, you learn about how your body is made, and that women are made to have babies. Our bodies are made that way. Some women sometimes do have problems. Yes, that is true. It would be a lie to say that every woman was physically the same. We know that's not true. We have brown hair, blonde hair, brown eyes, blue eyes. Everyone is different, but by and large, women are perfectly physically capable of making and creating and growing and birthing babies. We also have this connection of love with their partner and with your partner and your baby. So this is part of hypnobirthing that you really, in fact, some mothers have come away saying this was the most connected they'd felt with their partner in ages, because you work on it together. Just like the baby was made together, you work on this positive birth experience as a couple. You work together. You have excitement and love for your little baby that will be coming to you soon. It's a very deep emotional and intellectual connection. You have that idea and it becomes your reality. So even though you haven't seen your baby in person, you haven't touched it, an ultrasound, you can actually touch an ultrasound. So it's not yet you've held your baby in your hands, but you feel the baby move within you and you grow to love this baby. So again, your physical reality is affecting your intellectual and emotional reality, and all coming together for a wonderful positive birth. So from a hypnotherapist point of view, I must say that hypnobirthing makes complete sense. It works. I've done it 3 times myself. I know it works. And if you have any questions about it, you can look online. There's lots of information. You can contact your local hypnobirthing instructor. But whatever you do, understand that the reason hypnobirthing works is because you change your reality for positivity. And once you do that, your experience of birth will be fabulous. All right. Good luck and happy birthing.